the UFC was very busy last week announcing a lot of big fights. They announced that Dominic Cruz, Jimmy Rivera fight. Another big fight that they announced, Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem in Detroit Rock City, Detroit, Michigan, December 2nd, UFC 218. Very excited about this one, a very important fight in the heavyweight division. We're joined now by our old friend, Alistair Overeem, the Reem, who's here to talk about that fight and more. He's joining us from the Netherlands. Alistair, are you there?
Yo, the Reem is online, man. How's it going?
Hello, Alistair. It's good to talk to you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a little bit shocked by the news of Vegas today. Very shocked, actually.
Me too.
So hearts and prayers go out to all the victims, everybody affected. And yeah, I mean, it's been dominating the whole news, right? It was last night, Vegas for him.
Yep.
So
it's hard to think of other things.
So who, because still a lot of details are not known, right? But maybe you know more.
Sure.
Who is familiar? Who is responsible? Who did it?
It was a 64. They don't really know. A 64-year-old man apparently did it, according to the reports. He was in the hotel, the Mandalay Bay, which has hosted many an MMA event since September 28th. I believe that is this past Thursday. Had an array of weapons, was on the 32nd floor, according to reports. There was a festival, a music festival. Tons of people were there, and I don't know if you've seen the videos or heard anything, but it's just it's horrific to listen to. It's like a machine gun. And so the last word that I got was that 58 people have been confirmed dead and over 500 injured right now. So just a very scary thing. The Mayweather-McGregor Media Center, when we were there a month and a half ago, was on that exact lot where they had the concert. So a very personal thing for all of us.
Yeah, it's terrible. Just messes up your whole day. I kind of, because it happened like 10 p.m., right? 11 p.m. or something?
Yeah, Vegas time.
Yeah. So I woke up to the news. Actually, when I woke up, it was like, hey, something happened in Vegas. And it's been kind of going all day. Terrible.
Yeah. As I said at the top of the show, we do our best to go on, but we continue to think about them, and I hope that number doesn't get worse. A lot to talk to you about, and I appreciate you coming on as always, Alistair. And first, I want to talk to you about something that happened this weekend that I wasn't expecting to talk to you about. You were at the Glory event in the Netherlands. You were sitting there in the front row with your brother Valentin, and I do believe that you didn't have a run-in, so to speak, but you did address Rico Verhoeven on Instagram. You didn't like his comments about you. He said, "Who's Alistair Overeem?" And then he invited you to come over to Glory. What's going on there between you and Rico Verhoeven?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's like Glory wants me to fight kickboxing again.
Okay.
And they're kind of playing with the idea, approaching it. And to me, I've been very clear to those guys. Talk to the UFC. I'm a fighter. I love to fight, but go talk with the UFC and then come back to me. But they're just talking and nothing's coming from it. Rico's just talking, nothing's coming from it. So stop bothering me and let's get something done, or let's not get something done. Yeah, because it's just nonsense. It's just hyping something which is not there. And growing up, everything is a hype. I understand it, but it has to. Floyd Mayweather has hype to it, but the man is undefeated. The man is making millions. I got to give it to him. Those are big facts. If you compare that to other promotions or other hypes, it just doesn't live up to the hype. So, to me, that's a little bit what the Rico thing is. They don't have a strong contestant field over there. That's not their fault. I mean, Glory shows. I love the shows. I love the atmosphere there. I know a lot of people working there, but it's like kind of king of a hill, not of a mountain. If you know what I'm talking about.
So did you actually see, I saw there was a shot of Rico talking about Ahari there. Did you and Rico actually speak in person on Saturday?
We didn't speak, and we're not friends.
Yeah.
He was watching my camp. So good. We're not friends.
What's the beef there?
I don't need to. There is no beef. But my whole thing is, if somebody wants to fight with me, then sign with the UFC or do something, but don't talk about it all the time. Because they're just silly. He's just being silly. And I get it. Listen, this is the whole thing. I totally get Rico. There's nothing going on for him at Glory. There's no opponents for him, right? He's not selling out stadiums. He's a tremendous athlete. He's winning his fights, not by KO. They're mostly by decision, mostly boring fights. But he's working hard for it, and he is kind of creating a sort of marketing for himself. But, yeah, it is what it is.
So has Glory actually come to you and tried to make you an offer, and then you're like, look, guys, I'm exclusive to the UFC. But have they gone that far?
They're not. They're talking about it. Yeah, we want to get you in this ring. My approach is, as it should be, listen, guys, I'm under exclusive contract with the UFC. I'm extremely happy with the UFC. The UFC is the #1 combat sports promotion in the world. Go talk to them. Go talk to them, because I'm very happy. I'm hunting for my UFC belt, with creating my own legacy. And they're keeping bringing it up, but they're not following up, if you know what I mean. So it's just being nonsense, stupid. And my whole thing is, I don't want to talk to anybody about it. I like you're bringing it up. And the whole thing is, I had that, because Rico was kind of pushing it, and I had to address the whole situation. I had to kind of put him in his place, and I had to tell him and tell the world. I mean, yes, you are the king of the little small hill that you have called Glory. No offense to the people behind Glory, but Glory, is nothing. Nobody's watching it. It's small. And if the man wants real challenges, if he wants to really be recognized, then you have to come over to the UFC. It's just that simple. And you know what? The UFC is tough. The UFC, everybody wants to win. In the UFC, every matchup is a 50-50 matchup. You're not going to fight some other guy who's on a nine fight losing streak just because you don't have opponents. And then I'm talking about his upcoming fight against Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot never fought kickboxing. He's had a 9-fight losing streak in MMA. Or let me rephrase that to 9 losses out of his 10 MMA fights.
Yeah.
And that's then going to be your next fight. Yeah, this is nonsense.
Yeah, that to me is a shameful fight. That fight should not be happening. There's no reason for. I mean, the heavyweight champion is fighting a guy who has very little, if any, experience in kickboxing and has suffered all that damage over the last couple of years. That fight makes me uneasy. But let me ask you, by the way, who's more popular these days in the Netherlands, you or Rico Verhoeven?
Well, I moved, so I'm living in the U.S.
That's right.
And he is still there, and he's doing a lot of Dutch media. I don't know. He is becoming a sort of a name, but let's be realistic. The politics still don't like fighting here.
Yeah.
The media still does not support fighting here, and they will not support fighting here. It's not going to be the next soccer. Fighting is not going to be soccer. They've made a clear and distinct choice. We're going to support certain sports, and certain sports we're not going to support. And then I'm also talking about the Formula One. We have Max Verstappen. The media is rallying behind him. They're supporting him. They're not going to do that with fighting. They're just not going to do that. It's something a realization. It's something I realized several years ago, and that actually made me move to the States. So I've moved to the States. I live in the States, and I'm very happy with that decision. I'm still often back in Holland. I love the people. I love the food. I love being back. Miss my family, miss my friends. But Holland is a small market, and nothing's going to happen there. So you can be all the famous you want here. You can be the most famous you want. Nothing's going to happen. Still nothing's going to happen. And that's a realization I have had. And that's why I decided I need to move on. I need to expand. I moved to the States. We're doing appearances all over the world. We're doing training camps all over the world. Kind of a global presence. And if Rico wants to be famous in Holland, listen, I fully support that. I like that idea. He's doing TV shows. Yeah, it's great.
So you return on December 2nd. Yes, go ahead.
No, I like to see other fighters have success, and I like to see other Dutch fighters have success. So that's all good. Just not over my back.
Of course.
If it's over my back, then it's going to become a fight, and let's get it on.
Yes, then we have a problem. You have a fight on December 2nd. Everyone's very excited. This is a fantastic matchup in the heavyweight division. It's very important. Did you like the matchup? Were you in favor of this matchup when it was offered to you?
again, I'm a fighter. I like to stay active. I understood that Stipe Miocic had some contract issues, so he was not available. And to me, I want to be active. I mean, I'm always training. I'm always dieting. I'm always staying in shape. There needs to kind of be a target, a goal, right? Because otherwise it's just staying in shape. So to me, it's good. It's good to stay active. It's good to have a plan. And let's not forget, Francis is a worthy opponent. He's coming off of, I think, a 9 or 10 fight winning streak. The reverse from the other fight in China.
Yes.
But no, but this is like a legit guy. He's strong. You can see he's strong as an ox. He's motivated. He's willing to fight. I will be kind of his first big name test. I'm very motivated as well. And it's going to be a great fight, great matchup.
I'm sure you watched the competition at heavyweight. You know, do you remember watching him when he fought Arlovsky, his last couple fights, saying, I may be meeting this guy soon? In other words, was he on your radar? Are you impressed by this guy? Is this someone that you're kind of excited to show everyone that he's not on your level?
Well, again, everybody in the UFC has a plan. Everybody's coming to win. Every matchup is sort of like 50-50, right? And maybe 45-55. But this guy's legit. He's strong. He's coming there to win. It's going to be my job, my team's job to stop him and to show who's number one, literally who's number one, because I'm ranked number one. And then solidify my shot for the title against this Stipe later. That'll be 2018 then.
Yeah. So have you been told that if you win this fight, you're fighting Stipe?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's big news. That's exciting. You get another crack at him.
Well, I need to be a little bit logic thinking too, right? I'm ranked number one now.
Yeah.
So the way I'm thinking, I would be eligible to fight for the belt now. But I also stated that in previous interviews, if I need to run through somebody else before, then we're going to do that. And that is what it is right now. Again, I'm a fighter. I like to be active. To me, that's the best. You know, some fighters, they're not fighting for a year or a year and a half. I just need to get back in every 4 or 5 months. We're also considering, it's I'm 37 years old. It's basically the final stretch of my career. A couple of years left. So, again, like to stay active. It's been 20 years fighting now, so you don't want to have breaks, right? A year off or a year and a half, just stay active.
I was actually just about to ask you that. Do you feel like this is the last run for you? Like this rise that you're having now, this run, you've won a couple in a row now, you've looked very good. Do you feel like this will be your last crack at a UFC belt?
Well, last crack, never say never. Again, I love what I do, right? But you notice you're getting older, and you notice there's more things in life. However, still motivation is super high, and we're still winning our fights. But you have to be kind of realistic too, and you don't want to end up with too much damage to your body too. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a life after the sport. I've taken very good care of my body up until this point, so I'm still very injury free. But you just don't want to keep it that way. You look at other fighters like a Big Nog. I ran into him in Tokyo, and he had I think 19 or 20 fight-related surgeries. That's a lot. That's a lot.
You were just in Japan for that UFC event. You had a front row seat to Gokhan Saki's UFC debut. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I think it was a very exciting fight, very action-packed. He needs some work. He needs to continue the path that he set in. A lot of props to him for stepping into a other field. I can always respect that. Somebody taking a risk, somebody taking a chance. If Rico would come to the UFC, I would even support that. Hey, that is somebody stepping out of his comfort zone. That's something I did. I went into K1, somebody stepping out of their comfort zone and accepting a whole new challenge. Because kickboxing, if you're doing that for 20 years, that's kind of easy. But if you're going into a new sport and there's all of a sudden grappling and submissions and, his competition field is hard, light heavyweight, he might even consider dropping down to middleweight. But all these new opponents, and they're all dangerous, right? You're not even considering middleweight, but light heavy. You have Cormier, you have Volkan coming up. Then when he fought John Jones, John Jones is still also in it. So it's like a very hard competition field, and it's not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, and did you feel that? I mean, you kind of went back and forth, but he talked about having to go longer with the 5-minute rounds. The fights are longer, and just his cardio. And of course, he didn't fight for 2.5 years. But did you feel that pain as well when you were transitioning from one sport to the other?
Yeah, definitely. It's different. But Saki's a clever guy. I'm sure he's going to adjust. I'm sure he's going to, plan on it. And then he's got a couple of good coaches around him, surrounding himself with good people. So I'm sure he'll adapt and he'll be stronger and better the next fight.
Okay.
I think it's a good. It depends a little bit on his matchmaking. If he's allowed to grow or if he's going to be tested immediately, if you know what I mean. But because of course he has a pedigree in striking, but at the same time, obviously his grappling and his wrestling will be his weakness. So it depends if he's going to be allowed to grow for the matches and kind of grow in that, or if he's going to be thrown to the wolves. So matchmaking is going to be really important for us.
I love you, Alistair. I think the world of you, and I love how you respect the MMA legends, MMA history. From what I understand, you wanted to go visit Yoshihiro Takayama, who recently had spinal surgery while you were in Japan, and who reportedly has been left paralyzed, but you were unable to do so. And so then you went to meet Hiromitsu Kanehara, who is a man that who's also in the hospital, who's also dealing from a back injury. I saw on your Instagram that you were at his in his hospital room by his hospital side. Is that what happened? You tried to go visit Takayama, but you couldn't, and then you went to and then you found out about Kanehara, so you went to go visit him?
Yeah, okay. So in Japan, we heard about the awful news of Takayama. So he kind of hurt himself during a pro wrestling match.
Yeah.
And he's kind of paralyzed down. And so I shared a couple of pride cards with him. So he's not a friend. We don't really talk. And Japanese are like kind of different culture anyway, so it's like a little bit hard to communicate with them sometimes. But I felt like, you know what? We just need to go over there. I just need to see him, give him a hug, show some support. And then, so the management was talking to some of his friends, his people, and he was unable to receive visitors because he was on the respiratory machine. So he was kind of kept unconscious, kind of kept in a coma because he needed surgery still. It's kind of shocking. We decided, there's nothing we can do. But we'll be back in Japan in like 6 months, so we'll go visit him then. Okay. But at the same time, that management person said, we were also going to meet with Kanehara, and this is an old opponent. I fought with him in 2004. My brother fought with him previous in rings 2 times, and then I'm talking about 2000 and 2001. But he's like a former rings star, had many fights, fought Big Nog, fought Wanderlei Silva, fought Shogun, kind of a super veteran. I spoke to him, he didn't even remember how many fights he had. A lot of his fights are not even on record, or they're on record on rings. Rings is not there anymore, so nobody has his records. But so immediately I was like, okay, let's go visit him. An old foe, but somebody I respect tremendously because of his history. But a lot of MMA fans don't know of this guy because he has like over 100 fights. He fights mostly in Japan, but I remember him because my brother was dealing with him 4 fights, and then I fought him in 2004. So went to visit him. He was very surprised. And this is also, remember, let's not forget, this is also a fighter who is Japanese, cultural difference, maybe communication barrier anyway. We never really spoke, but I just went there, again, give him a hug, show some sign of support, and then, it is what it is. But
good for you.
To my big surprise, when I walked in the room, he spoke English. Oh. And we had the most interesting and funny talks about the history of the sport and about his career, of course, about my career, and his injuries and what he transitioned to do after his fighting career because he's retired. For some being now, he's now a chiropractor. So I had the most nice talks, and it was actually a little bit, we're all growing older. And at some point, when I fought him, I was like 24 or something. I was just interested in knocking him out and very basic thoughts, and I'm gonna destroy. And now it was more like, a lot of respect.
That's beautiful.
Former foes, and now a lot of respect. It was like, I don't know, maybe veterans in wars have a little bit something similar. And there was a lot of back and forth respect, and it was actually a little bit of a touching moment for me to see him and to see him do well, because of course you never know how people are doing, right? 10 years after their career, or 5 years after their career. But he was doing just well, except from his injury. Of course, he had something. He didn't know exactly what it was. It was something lower back, maybe his kidneys. But he said probably I'm going to get some antibiotics, and then in 2-3 weeks I'll be out of here. So he was not paralyzed or anything. It was just some lower back. He wasn't in bad pain though, but it was already going a little bit better. It was on pain meds. So special moment.
Well done. Congratulations, by the way, on the new baby. How's she doing?
The baby's there. Yeah, 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
She's doing very well. She's very different than my other 2 girls. This is her third girl, of course. Very different baby. She's very calm. Doesn't make a peep. She's just sleeping all day, basically. She has my mother's eyes, very blue eyes.
Oh.
And in the beginning, I was like, hey, she doesn't really look like me. Very white baby. But she's coming slowly. She's getting a little bit more color now. But,
you changing a lot of diapers?
Yeah. Nah, not really. If I'm honest.
It's fun. You got to embrace it.
We got a traditional household.
Okay.
That is I provide and do you do the diapers?
Oh, I love the diapers. I'd bathe in the diapers if it was socially acceptable.
Or are you just saying that because you're on air and you don't want to?
I'll put a security camera in my daughter's room. Any chance, if someone says, "Oh, dirty diaper," I run. I lather myself in the soiled diaper. I love it.
I have a hard time believing that. You'll need to post 5 days of Instagram post videos if you're doing it, and then I'll.
Fair enough. By the way, before I let you go, just 2 quick things. Verdum, Derek Lewis, this Saturday. You know Verdum? Who's your pick?
Verdum is my pick. Definitely
okay.
Verdum.
All right. And what about... you go ahead.
Yeah, I was not done yet, damn it. No, he's... I think he's too clever. Clever for Derek. With all due respect, Derek is a beast. He's strong, but for him, it's clever. So he's clever. He's got the experience. He's got the years, and he's still aggressive. He's still going for it. So I expect him to come out on top in that fight. Not to. Huh?
No. Go ahead, please.
You keep interrupting me, man.
I'm sorry, because I'm so worried about your time. I'm sorry. Please, I'd love for you to stay as long as you want. I'm sorry.
But not to mention that it won't be a back and forth fight and a tight fight, because I mean you're still dealing with Derek. He's still a super strong guy, but I see Verdum coming out on top, and there's several different ways he could actually come out on top.
I'm worried about Derek Lewis coming back so soon. I feel like he just fights too often. I wish he'd take some time off to just heal up. This is a big step in competition, I feel like, and he's coming back very quickly. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about that.
Why?
Because he's been battling so many injuries and he's incredibly active. I mean, he's fighting every couple of months. And if you recall, he retired after his last fight. He retired after he lost to Mark Hunt. And he said he had all kinds of, injuries. He injured his rib and he's been banged up. And so he just wanted some time to, as he put it, press the reset. Now here he is coming back against Verdum.
But listen, you're fighting a 5-rounder with Mark Hunt. Of course, you're going to have injuries coming out of that. You're fighting a guy who's 265 or 275 pounds, K1 champ, and you're going did they fight 4 or 5 rounds? Of course, you're going to have injuries.
Yeah. But he said that going into it. He's been beat up. That's the thing.
I'm going to tell you something. He might say I had all these injuries, blah, blah, blah. I was the other day, actually around that time, I remember this. I was checking out his Instagram, and he was doing a backflip in the pool, and this was a day before the fight. Uh-huh. So if you have all these injuries, your ribs, your lower back, this or that, why are you doing a backflip in the pool? Yeah? Right. Why are you doing that? I'm not doing a backflip in the pool, and I really don't have injuries. So,
fair enough.
People say a lot. Is it true? You don't know, right? But skeptical. I saw the backflip. That's true. I see somebody doing it. So that is happening. And if somebody's saying then later that was after the weigh-ins, and then that's like Friday, and then Saturday I have the fight, and then he lost the fight, and then Sunday, I had a lot of injuries going into the fight. Yeah, of course, because there's going to be some reason, right? You got to think of something. But who are you trying to fool, Derek Lewis? Who are you trying to fool? I saw that backflip.
I like this investigative work on your part. By the way, speaking of online, like social media, your videos, your social media game has really gone up a notch. You make these videos like a picture here and then a picture there and then a picture there and then like there's a video within the picture. How do you do this? Are you the one doing it? Tell us the secret.
I'm not going to tell you the secret.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You still owe me an iPad.
No, I believe the deal was that if you become UFC champion, which you seem to be on your way to fighting for the belt, then we would discuss. No.
It's all good. It's all good. But listen, Ariel.
Yes.
It's time for me to go.
Wait. I had one last thing. Tell us about the new episode of The Reem. When's it coming out? When's the new episode of The Reem coming out?
Okay, so I actually don't know.
Come on.
I actually do not know when the episode of The Reem is coming out. No, I don't know. It's kind of okay. I'm leading the whole operation, of course.
Yes.
But I don't have an update on that. It's a little kind of sloppy, I know, but it's coming. There's when was the last one? After the fight, right? Post fight.
Yeah.
So it should be time.
Yeah.
I think it should be a couple.
I'm jonesing for it.
Interested in Alistair.com documentary. There's some old episodes.
Yeah.
But the whole social media thing and the whole documentary thing, it's a lot of work, but I like it. It's good to be colorful, to be different, to be and sometimes that just needed to be overall. Sometimes it just needed to get better. So that's something that we did with the social media, and that's something we did with the documentary as well. Right, from going to color and then now with short episodes.
You do a great job with that. Yeah. You understand the marketing side of things. You've put a lot of time. You've invested a lot of resources. You do a great job with that. So I'm always a fan. I watch every episode. So I was just curious. That's all. And by the way, next up, we have a guy who you're kind of responsible for his success, Volkan Ozdemir, coming up. You're the guy who essentially got him into this. How about that? Isn't that crazy? Do you expect him to be knocking people out in like 10 seconds?
Volkan Ozdemir, yeah, he's like I would say he's like my nephew / cousin, and very very proud that I was able to contribute to his success. But let's not forget one thing: I am not responsible for his success. He is responsible for his success because he came to me. He has put in the work. He has then done that multiple years. He fought in shitty promotions. He had a lot of things turned against him. In his career in life, but he finally made it, and I'm very proud of him for this. So yeah, and of course you never know how somebody's going to do. I just know that I was in my training camp, so I was doing my thing, and I got a message from Volkan. It's kind of funny. I think it was 2006, 7, or 8. Hey, Alistair, can I come train? And at that time, I was like, oh yeah, sure, come over. And then this guy, Ding Dong, was standing in front of the door with a suitcase, and he stayed up with me for, I think, over a year maybe. And we always stayed in touch and then back and forth. And then he came again for a couple months and then he was out of it. So, yeah, and then he had some fights. I never did his management. I never was his coach. But he just trained with me. And he kind of did his own thing and he got along with the crew. He's a very nice, humble guy, very, very gentle guy. And very happy to see him succeed because this was always one of his goals. He's succeeding in a magnificent way, right? Because he's right up there for a title shot. So, yeah, very, very happy for him, very proud.
Alistair, you're a mensch. Always a pleasure to have you on. I appreciate you taking some time out. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in Detroit on December 2nd.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ariel. See you.
Thank you so much.
In a couple. Ciao.
Yes, sir. There he is, the Reem, Alistair Overeem. Always great to talk to him. So much to discuss. He's one of our favorites on the program.